A One Piece game where you can create your own character, create or join your own crew, and explore and fight on the seas of the One Piece world. That would be the perfect One Piece game for me. What's good, YouTube? Red Ronnie here, and today I'm going to dive deep into how islands and servers will work in my dream One Piece game. This is part of an ongoing series in which I break down game mechanics and features out of one of my One Piece game ideas. So if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to stay updated. Although One Piece already has a top tier cast of characters and a top tier overall story, one could make the argument that the best aspect of the series is its huge world with various distinct and fleshed out islands. Every island is huge and accommodates all sizes of characters, and the goal for this game would be to have the same feel to the best of its abilities. But knowing that this is a video game, there are some limitations to what we'd be able to do no matter the money or time spent, so that's where the servers come in. I've had multiple ideas for how the servers of this game will be set up, but I think I've come up with the best solution. So without further ado, let's discuss islands and servers in the perfect One Piece game. Like always, before we start, remember to drop a like if you liked the video, and go watch my previous One Piece videos before you finish this video to get a good idea of everything I'm talking about. Alright, let's get right into it, starting with the game's map. Okay, so this game's map will pretty much encompass the entire world from this series, fit with all the places we've seen in the story and even islands made for the game, again to the best of its abilities. There will be 6 different types of islands in the game ranging in size and resources. The first of these being small islands. So small islands are obviously small islands where you could probably see the entire island from just standing on the beach, like it's not very big. There wouldn't be any inhabitants on there, so there wouldn't be any NPCs, there wouldn't be any creatures. It would just be you and anybody else that's on the island with you. They wouldn't have any shops at all. You couldn't buy anything on those islands. But they would have like trees and bushes a player can go and they can like pick ingredients or herbs from, so you can get materials like that. These types of islands will most likely be best for like players or crews who want to go and like camp somewhere for a second so they can get away from like the big towns and stuff like that. Next are town islands. So town islands are kind of like medium-sized islands with a town. Town islands will have the 5 essential shopping locations that every island bigger than small islands will have. Those being item shops where players can get herbs and materials, weapon shops where players can get melee weapons, firearm shops where players can get ranged weapons, clothing shops where players can get clothes and gear, and restaurants and bakeries where players can get food. All town islands will have mayors who players can either befriend and agree to protect the island for, or kill them and take control of the island as their own base. To befriend them, the players will take on missions from different townspeople and then eventually the mayor themselves, and then the town will raise your flag, and so whenever the island is attacked, you will be alerted and can choose to go and protect them. Now, in order to take control of the island, you'd have to beat up multiple weak townspeople and then the mayor themselves. Having control of an island allows you to build your own base there. This would give crew members another spawn point other than the crew's main ship. Having control of islands and territories in general would also increase pirate crews' bounties, especially the captains. Also, other crews could come along to take control of the island by defeating the mayor as well. This could be stopped, however, by the crew who already has control over the island if they decide to come and fight for them when they're alerted of the attack. Next are marine bases. So marine bases would be pretty much town islands, except they would just be comprised of marine-friendly shopping locations. Players of other factions could also go here to switch to the marine faction, but they would need to have already paid their bounty, otherwise the island's defenses would start shooting at their ship when in close proximity. Captured criminals could also be transported to one of these islands before going to Impel Down, a location I just can't wait to talk about in my next video. Next are sky islands. So sky islands are obviously islands in the sky that have like a clouded landmass. They would vary in size, kind of like how they have small regular islands and like, town islands and stuff like that. They would vary in size, and they would also have the 5 essential shops. Now, the big thing about sky islands is that they would only be able to be accessed by coming in contact with a knockup stream around the sea. Knockup streams will erupt every 10 minutes. There will be a knockup stream for every sky island in the game. When going up a knockup stream, there will be a cutscene and loading screen where it shoots your ship into the sky, eventually reaching the island. Now, to leave a sky island, players or a crew on the boat could decide to walk off, jump off, or sail off a sky island, and they could just easily get off like that. When this happens, the player or crew will land on the island closest to the sky island they were on, or if you were in a boat, you would just land in the water under the sky island. And no, players wouldn't fall face first and take damage. They'd be equipped with a parachute when jumping from a sky island. Next are archipelagos. So archipelagos consist of multiple small islands and town islands in close proximity with each other, all sharing similar architecture and landscapes. Archipelagos will also be split up into different districts, which could all be conquered individually just like town islands. And finally, countries. Countries would be the biggest singular landmasses in the game. They will have multiple sets of the 5 essential stores, with the country being comprised of multiple different towns and villages. Every country will have a king or queen, which just like mayors could be befriended or overthrown. Kings, however, will be much stronger than mayors and will have a pretty sizable army you and your crewmates will have to go through to overthrow. These armies will mostly consist of common fodder, and then the king's royal guards, being the strongest fighters in the army. And finally the king himself, who would need to be defeated by the captain in order to be overthrown. Overtaking a country will be just like overtaking a town island and more. It massively increases the crew's bounty and notoriety among the seas. Overtaking a country will be one of the first steps a pirate captain would take to become an emperor. Also, I forgot to mention this before with town islands, but just like before, other pirates would also be able to come and try to overthrow a town or a country already conquered by another crew. But on top of that, Marine players or Revolutionary Army players would also be able to come and liberate the territory from the crew. The reason being that conquering a country would be an actual crime to the world government, and the Revolutionary Army will look at it as an unjust act. So there's a few things that come with conquering a country. Keep in mind, there will be loads of islands in the game. Not just the ones we see in the series, but even more made up ones based on places mentioned in the story like Raja Island, along with new islands created exclusively for the game. And this will all take place on one map. Yeah, you heard me, one map. Like, this will arguably be the biggest non-generated map in gaming history. Now you might be wondering, how in the hell would any of this be possible? Well, that's where the servers come in. So you might remember at the start of this video, I said I may have come up with how servers will work in this game. But I really just thought of 2 ideas that I'm really asking you about. When I say you, I'm saying like game designers that may be out there watching my videos, seeing if it would even be possible. Because I have no clue. I'm not a game designer, I'm just a guy coming up with ideas. The first idea, and I believe the more far-fetched one, is each blue sea being a different server per region. So for example, North America will have 6 servers being the 4 blues in both halves of the Grand Line. And the same for each of the other regions: South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, and Australia. Now again, I'm not sure if that sounds crazy or not, but this entire game sounds pretty crazy anyway, so you know, it is what it is. The second idea for servers I had was maybe we keep the regions aspect, right? And make it one world map per region, but the servers are broken up into groups of islands. So let's say we take Dawn Island, the Oregon Islands, which is where Orangetown is, which is actually part of an archipelago, by the way, I didn't know that. Syrup Village and Arlong Park, because those are pretty close in proximity with each other, looking at how Luffy's started out. And you group them together into one server. Every time you step out of the server, there is a bit of a loading screen going into the next server or groups of islands next to it. So this way you could imagine a One Piece world map, but with a bunch of lines in between like this, representing the different servers. That way everything is technically taking place on the same huge map like I wanted to. So let me know what you think. Are my ideas good ideas? Game designers, are they even possible? How would you make the servers in the game this big? How big would you want the map to be for a game like this anyway? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's just about it for how islands and servers will work in this game. Tune into next week's video, yes you heard right, next week's video, where we talk about how Impel Down will work in the game. Follow me on Instagram at RedXRonnie, follow me on Twitter at RedXRonnie, remember to like and subscribe for more, and see you in the next one, peace.